So I'm going to have to watch this episode so I actually know what the fuck was said. Because
Oh shit.
Oh no.
I might
bad.
have, like, that bad. I might have 15
Oh.
minutes where I actually know what's going on. Greetings, fellow life forms, and welcome to This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where we talk about things we've learned through the week and lightly research it to bring you our take. This week will actually be a discussion episode rather than a standard episode. This is episode 55, recorded August 9th, 2021, and I'm your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. Down below me, in the corner, because we always put baby in the corner, Seeker4761, and that's the amount of cringe we're going to have today, possibly.
At least.
The square root of 4761 is 69.
You know it,
Yeah.
That's all
baby.
you need to know. That's all you need to know.
That's what I live by now, apparently.
Our man 69 squared.
Oh, that should totally be like an alias for games.
And you
69
thought my
squared.
tagline
Nice
was good.
squared. Eh.
Next to me is Mr. Charlie Stiffler, also known as Mueller. Spelled wrong, so he always gets it right.
Thank you.
Down caddy corner to him, we have Tim, also known as Fake Farang. I apparently need to plug my freaking headphones back in.
And I'm just going to put this out there. I don't think we've ever said Tim's last name on the podcast. I don't know if we need to, but I don't know Tim's last name.
I was gonna
He's
say,
the
I
life
don't know
form.
Tim's.
He's just the life
Could
form
just
known as
be
Tim.
Tim, and it could be the thing.
I am the
like,
sorcerer, Tim.
Tim!
How Wilson.
Man with one name.
Call me
It's
Tim.
What is?
it's Rhind. It's Rhind. Rhind.
Ryan.
Which is actually
See,
which is
now we
actually
know.
Scottish.
This-
Although people think it's German, but it's Scottish.
The mystery is broken.
I was gonna say some of the mystique is gone now.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be British if you pronounced it H.
And then
Confuse that one.
way over in the corner over there is Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous. How is everyone doing on this wonderful night?
I
/ day. Since we are now
Morning.
multi
We've gone international.
yeah, it's
multinational.
morning time here.
Yeah,
I
for the
miss-
record, it's a 13-hour difference in hours, so it's not a small task to arrange schedules.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're all in the same time zone then?
Yeah, they are.
No, Brandon and
Well,
I are the same.
I'm not.
Kind of.
Colton and I are for the summer, but because daylight savings time is a thing, he'll go back to not being the same as me.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Colton's
I
the
am
only
always-
sensible state with daylight savings time.
I think I'm always 14 hours away from Thailand.
Yeah.
Behind Thailand, I guess.
Okay.
Regardless,
Okay.
so it's very, very easy to do the math.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Where I lived is always
Yeah.
12 or 13.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And
Central time zone.
It was like 15, 16 in Alaska, I think. Yeah. Oh,
Wouldn't it be less?
No, it's more because
It's-
they're on farther
yeah.
from the international date
Yeah.
line.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Fuck.
if
You
you
gotta
go
go the
the
long
other
way
way,
around.
it's less.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
way that I always remembered it is it was either midnight when I got to work at 8 o'clock in the morning in Alaska. It was midnight in Thailand. Or it was people in Thailand were just waking up when I got off of work at 5 o'clock. So it was like 8 o'clock in the morning in Thailand when it was 5 o'clock. And it would shift between those 2 points depending on the time of year and what part of that evil daylight savings time we were on. But
So bad.
yeah.
But this is not a daylight savings time rant.
No,
day.
we've
Not
done
again.
Fear
that.
not.
We've
Fear
done
not. We've
that.
already done that.
But I miss going out
So-
to restaurants. That's how I'm doing. I miss eating out and going to the food court at the
Yeah, in the
mall
markets
here.
and
You're leaving a door open that I'm not going to walk through. I just have to say that. Never mind. Continue. Our immature listeners will understand what I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
fair enough.
Brandon, please introduce our topic for the night.
I figured it'd fall to me. So we are talking about basically laws or policies that are in place to protect you from you or protect the lowest common denominator of civilization. So these kinds of things that like irk me specifically would be things like mandatory seatbelt laws, mandatory helmet laws, um, mandatory labeling on hot coffee.
Yeah,
That kind of stuff.
We're gonna have fun
Okay.
with this episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like
You're gonna
I feel
find them on
like
both sides, on different topics.
this is
Oh,
probably
yeah.
going to be our last episode and the end of our friendship. So.
I won't go that far, but I won't say no to that either.
Oh,
I should have got some
Okay.
vodka or something.
So, who would like to fire the first shot?
Fuck it, I'll do it.
You're the one
yeah,
that
he's-
posted
I'm,
it.
I'm
so.
the one who
It's your
did it.
topic.
I do not think after you turn 18 that helmet laws of any kind should be required, be it on mountain skiing, snowboarding, bicycling, motorcycling.
Horseback.
It should not be required. It should be highly encouraged. Helmets do amazing things. I
Okay.
do not think that it should be required, though. I
So
do not
is
see.
your-
what if you have a socialized medicine, which in a way you guys are heading towards as well?
Okay.
What if you have a socialized healthcare plan, and now you have a head injury
Don't
because
steal my thunder, Tim. Don't steal my thunder.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
Okay.
going to ask a question of my two compatriots to the either side. Do you make this basis on libertarian ideals, where what affects me, and where your rights stop is where they would infringe upon mine?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay,
would.
So the average cost of healthcare, medical response, lost wages, lost productivity, property damage is $2.2 billion per year, which averages out to $800,000 per instance of unhelmeted motorcycle accidents. Just motorcycle accidents. We're talking $2.2 billion, and 75% of that is not paid by the victim. That is paid by safety net systems like police, fire, EMS that are responding, taking out the equation of whether they have private healthcare insurance or not, or whether it's going to go towards their auto insurance, which is going to be affecting everybody's rates. It is not an individual's choice. You're not just making a choice for yourself. You're making a choice for every taxpayer, every person that pays their insurance bill, every person that pays their health care insurance bill. You are making choices for other people that don't get to have a say in your choice by removing a safety system like that. When you add, and let me just back this up a second. This is the map of the United States for helmet laws.
Mm-hmm.
So the helmet laws in dark blue are not required over 18. The yellow ones are required for all ages. And the lightly blue ones have no helmet law at all. My mother, who does not watch the podcast, was literally the poster child for the 1973 helmet law in Colorado. She was involved in a motorcycle accident while on the back of my grandfather's motorcycle. He was thrown 150 feet. He was fine. She stayed with the motorcycle and lost her scalp. She's got a nice, fantastic scar that goes all the way back, and the only reason why they found her scalp is because her roller skate key, if you're old enough to remember that one, Tim, her roller skate key embedded in the skin. Her face was the literal poster for the 1973 helmet law, which was repealed 5 years later in 1978 under a libertarian style thought process. And since then, in Colorado alone, the cost to the greater world has been over $4 billion in Colorado alone. So, absolutely positively, don't give a fuck about your choice. Wear a fucking helmet. Because, the fuck, I don't care about myself. I don't care if, I don't care about a warning label on a hairdryer. I want to be able to take a shower with my hairdryer if I feel like it's the good choice. Doesn't affect you. It affects everything that we have in place that is built on the principle of implied consent, which you know about. An implied consent is a reasonable person would want to be helped, saved, and all efforts to preserve their life should be made in the absence of documentation that says otherwise in the form of a DNR. So I
Right.
feel very fucking passionately about this. If you want to not get vaccinated, same fucking deal. As far as I'm concerned right now, same fucking deal. You should be required to, because it is not just you that's making the choice.
Okay, I
You
want
are
to speak
now
to this
becoming the
point
petri dish.
before you go away from this point right here, because I figured you might make these equations to, vaccination and COVID and helmet laws. And there's an extreme reason why you should not.
Okay.
Not wearing a helmet does not have an R value of 2 or more. Me not wearing a helmet does not spread not wearing a helmet to you, to everybody else around me. It does not do that. Unless I look fucking awesome not wearing a helmet. like if I'm out there smoking a cigar, not wearing a helmet and wearing my sunglasses and blasting like scorpions, rock you like a hurricane, then maybe.
So I hear that too, but here's my thought on this. So what if the insurers, whether it be the state or your private company, said, well, okay, we're only going to cover maybe if you have a motorcycle accident and you weren't wearing a helmet, we're only going to cover 50% of the cost or 0% of the cost.
That I can get behind.
So they are free. They are free to do that too.
Yes, they are.
They
are free to do that.
You're left.
And that is why you should then be able to choose other insurances that cater to your tastes or whatever. I totally get it. If an insurance company says, look, if you're going to be insured with us, you're going to ride a motorcycle with us. If you wear a helmet, here's your premium. If you do not wear a helmet, this is your premium.
But
Very
there's
important
still costs to the
delineate.
emergency systems, though.
Your insurance does not pay when you're not at fault. So,
Right.
by comparison, Colorado permits introduction of a plaintiff's noncompliance with the state's seatbelt law as evidence to support the reduction of non-economic damages. So they're able to extrapolate, if you're wearing a seatbelt, you wouldn't have exceeded X, Y, and Z injuries. However, despite repealing the helmet law, the Colorado Department of Transportation cites on its website, although helmets are proven to save lives, riders 18 and over are not required, and they do not. The plaintiff's failure to wear a protective helmet is inadmissible to show negligence on the part of the plaintiff or to mitigate damages. Contributory negligence bars recovery, while comparative negligence takes into account the negligence which caused the injury and reduces damages proportionally. In other words, it is inadmissible in court or in delineations between insurance companies whether you were wearing a helmet or not. Because,
And I think that is part of the problem too.
But the problem is as a doctor, how do you delineate what injuries would have been prevented or not by wearing a helmet? Because head injuries still happen with a helmet on. So are you creating some arbitrary rule that applies to everyone poorly, or are you trying to go case by case? All by my math, 17,000 motorcycle helmet accidents without a helmet accident per year.
Especially in a system where it's in the best interest of an insurance company to not pay that out in any way. Yeah. So that's kind of a whole nother issue in itself, but it is related.
Now, as far as the nanny state goes, you're more than welcome to not wear a helmet in the state of Colorado. Mm-hmm. You are required, however, to wear eye protection. You want to know how many times I see people violate that one? A lot.
Yeah.
So the core concept of these laws is, given human nature, if someone adequately and proportionally expects or tries to mitigate and prevent accidents, they themselves have to admit that it is possible to be hurt. And the human nature is that you're indestructible. So if you're wearing a seatbelt, you have to first accept the possibility that you might get in a car accident. So if you think you're invincible, like most people think they are, they won't put on a seatbelt. If they put on a helmet, they have to admit to themselves that there's the potential of them getting in a motorcycle accident, which most people are not willing to accept. It'll happen to somebody else, but not them, and therefore they will not wear it. You want a completely libertarian, blanket, make your own decision kind of thing. And you open the door to the coffee debate, and I'm going to slam the door shut on this. the lawsuit in which the McDonald's coffee incident happened, she suffered third-degree burns and in sections fourth-degree burns from 240-degree coffee. 240 degrees. 40 degrees above the boiling point of liquid. And she didn't even want to sue. She just wanted to have her medical bills covered. And no, her lawyer's like, oh no, honey, we're going to court. And you're going to win. You're going to win a lot.
So I don't think that's the issue. I think it's...
Yeah. I don't have an issue with that case. I used to before I understood that case.
I have an issue
now
with
I
the
understand
outcome
that case.
of that case.
Right.
Exactly. I have an issue with the fact that now we have to put warning labels on shit that should be moments. Now, McDonald's microwaving their coffee and serving it to her, that is bad on them. They absolutely fucking deserve that lawsuit.
Yes.
But every chaser after that finds things without warning labels, that finds like, oh look, there's water in the supermarket and there's no wet floor sign.
But that's a result of poor courts.
Oh yeah,
because I can tell you, but I can tell you also in Canada, a lot of this stuff would be thrown out as frivolous. Number one, and number two, the amount of the rewards is so much less. Yeah. There's so much less in punishment, awards. I mean, it does exist, but it's not to the extent that it is in the U.S.
The fact that juries decide settlement amounts, I believe, is a problem. I think magistrates and judges should have a better guideline for that, and that's completely fine. And speaking of juries and stuff, just if you ever want to like really screw with your understanding of the U.S. legal system, please look up jury nullification. You're welcome. Anyways, so when it comes to the coffee debate, when it comes to the warning on a hairdryer, and I crack this joke every time I transport a patient. I take the seatbelts off. I say, hey, don't jump off my bed. And I'm saying it because someone's done it. And this is still in my script. I'm saying it because someone's done it. It's kind of like the warning on a hairdryer. If I'm saying it, someone's done it. And it's because a gentleman vaulted off of my bed over the hospital bed and landed on the counter on the other side and then fell down and landed. Okay? And while that patient's on my bed, guess what? I'm culpable. I'm responsible for that injury. Okay? So I am preventing negligence by having that warning.
And that's...
If you then choose to jump off, I'm absolved.
And that's part of a larger issue. And one of the main reasons that I prefer to live in this country than the United States.
Okay. So the fact that every rule, law, regulation has someone's name next to it should be a motivation to not be dumb and not be a motivation to leave. Okay?
No, because what happens is now we have rules that are based off of one person creating that rule. That then becomes a serious issue when you start to ratchet down the laws of your society based off of, as Brandon says, the lowest common denominator. So rather than us going, oh, that was an exception, us going, that must be the norm.
Work comp claim for a teacher in the United States is?
Probably slip, trip, and fall.
Slip, trip, and fall from a rolling office chair.
Oh, for hanging something?
That's the most common injury. That's not like the outlier. That's the most common injury. Okay? This is not just some isolated one person showered with a hairdryer one time and so everyone has to have a warning on a hairdryer. It's that volumes of people are dying or being maimed or injured because of a societal opening or availability for injury.
Okay, with the hairdryer thing, I actually have a very dystopian view on this. That's going to be unpopular opinions by Cody Stratman.
That they were trying to kill themselves?
No, it's that now we actually are making people smarter by those people not existing.
Okay, so the the prevention of loss of gene pool, like the lifeguard in the gene pool argument. Okay, let's be honest. These people are not dying when they're 12. They're dying after they've had fucking kids. They've already contributed to the fucking gene pool. The damage is done. You're losing out on $1.2 million of their life GDP because they were dumb.
Okay, this is so politically incorrect. I have to try to say this without somehow
Just say
give me
it.
trouble.
Oh my God, we are not a politically correct.
In my previous occupation, I saw many Darwin Awards for sure.
Oh yeah.
But my observation is that we take care of people so well, and these people have a lot more kids than the average dual income family, working class people that don't cause trouble. Some of the people who are the troublemakers have a lot more kids than the rest of us.
Yeah,
So I think our society is preventing Darwin's, if you want to, evolution.
You know, as a paramedic, and Brandon knows this, I have a saying that if you are for natural selection, you're in the wrong job field. If you think that you're for natural selection as a paramedic or EMT, you need to go join the National Guard or go be, in the military or something, go kill dumb people. But you're not going to be successful in my field if you want to prevent natural selection. If you don't want to prevent natural selection.
Going with that concept.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
Going with that concept again, going back to what Charlie said. Yeah, if those people do survive, I mean, yeah, they can reproduce, but they're still going to be. You know what? Never mind. Give me a sec. I'm still trying to come up with an idea here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've bogarted a lot of time. I want Brandon and Cody to talk more about the other laws and the other situations that they feel like are pressing their right to be stupid.
Ooh, Brandon's getting all serious. It's like, all right, here we go, motherfucker.
Throw it on.
We're doing this.
He's checking notes.
Okay.
So
He's
I guess
prepared.
it goes back to the idea of the nanny state. So I guess we could expand it to more than just the seatbelt law. We can, because there's thousands of different laws that are similar in the same way.
Sorry, guys. We had a little bit of issues here. It seems like our platform that we use to video chat is having some issues, and that's Discord.
Discord.
So, yeah, it's far
Don't
from
worry,
perfect.
they won't sue us probably.
I think it's our friend June will definitely. He's ranting somewhere about it. Anyway,
Can't wait.
when we left off, I was talking about I was starting to allude to the difference between like food laws here in Thailand versus in the US. So last night I was with a couple of friends, not more than five, just as a reference to the lockdown here. Anyway, we had 100 cases a little bit ago, so now we're in lockdown. So it's very different. Anyway, so I asked
We
them.
can talk about that too.
Yeah, I asked them. With the food vendors here, how many of them, have to get safety checks? And we were like eating and drinking at the same time. Have to get safety checks and permits and all of that. And the answer that I got from my friends was literal laughter. Now, Tim, in the amount of time that you've been living in Thailand, how often have you legitimately had, like, food poisoning, anything of that sort?
In the last 2 years, when you say food poisoning, there's different levels. There's the one that just makes you
Yeah.
have the runs, and then there's real salmonella where you get sick. Like
Yeah.
So I've never had that, but I've had the other where you're running to the toilet from the back end, not vomiting or anything, but just that probably about 3 times in the last 2 years.
By the way, cases of acute diarrhea secondary to foodborne illness in Thailand In 2003, because this is the empirical data I could find, 956,313. 146 people died, which is a mortality rate of 0.05. So not bad. People shouldn't be dying for food poisoning. Dysentery, 23,113. Food poisoning, 126,000. That's the isolated stomach gurgling kind of relate. And enteric fever of 9,600. And this is secondary to contaminated food and water, poor personal hygiene, poor consumption behaviors. Okay? And this is like a WHOFAO.org empirical article.
Okay.
Google.
They're in the Northeast. They sometimes eat raw pork.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not surprised that they sometimes have problems.
But here's the thing about the whole thing.
But
you're making an argument.
People really do know. People here, I think they know about food hygiene. You will see a lot of them wearing gloves when they're working and so on, and you very quickly vendors go out of business if they're making their customers sick.
Yep.
Because people stop going to them.
I appreciate the market force control mechanism of, hey, if you're killing your customers don't come back. But I really feel
point.
like the food standards in the places that I've lived compared to the United States, like I would eat at an F restaurant in the United States because an F restaurant is so much better than, this uncontrolled potential of salmonella, E. coli. What's the other fantastic ones? Diarrheal disease. Wait for it. Sorry, I had it. Continue.
Well, regardless,
Shigella's the one,
Thailand still has food safety laws. It's not like it's not a wild west. So I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Cody, that a local vendor doesn't have to have a license. It's fine, but Thailand still enforces food safety laws. It's not.
It might.
You can't just.
There's a key word there.
The laws are on the books. We're gonna stop.
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna. Yeah. But if someone's getting sick, they are not gonna just say, "Oh, it's fine." They're gonna enforce that rule if they're doing something that's hurting people. I mean, I would hope so, because otherwise you got an issue.
I think it's a societal pressure to do it the right way.
Yeah,
here.
I think I would agree with Tim on that more than fear of the law. And that's
I don't think
right
the fear
there.
of the law should be the motivation anyways. But I feel like the clear violators should be sought and punished. Like, mom and pop, they have a bad weekend and get a couple people sick with E. coli. Yeah, we should monitor you for a while. Make sure your food safety habits are good and all that stuff. But, we shouldn't shut you down. We should fix you.
So,
when someone is routinely, I don't know, putting horse meat in their meatballs, IKEA, we should be regulating that.
I mean,
or meat in their hamburger, like horse meat in their hamburgers, Jack in the Box. So small things.
As somebody who likes
there's stuff
rare
like
hamburgers, and how irritable I am at, for instance, in Alaska, it's very difficult to find a place that will actually cook a rare hamburger. Do you want to know the amount of times that I've gotten sick from eating a rare hamburger?
So I'll answer your question with another question. Do you know how many times in your lifetime in the United States you have handled an egg that had E. coli on it or salmonella on it? One in your entire lifetime. But guess what? That one, if not properly cooked, will kill you. Not if, not maybe, will kill you. An unchecked E. coli infection is deadly, period. So, yeah, you want to roll the dice with your life? Cool. I used to make the joke, walk the cow out, I'll cut off what I want to eat, and I'll ride the rest home. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. If that's your choice, but the food safety standards in the United States has made it so you can eat steak tartare in the United States. If you do pork tartare in Southeast China or Southeast Indonesia, you're gonna die. You're gonna die, and I'm gonna say something nice at your funeral, but I'm gonna call you a fucking idiot.
That's fair enough. That is based off of your life experiences, your willingness to take risk or not take risk. And
there's places my wife won't eat and doesn't want to go to. So I think because of this, Thai people are very aware of where to go and what to eat.
Yeah, very.
And there's a lot of street places she will not touch or eat.
That's a fair statement. So there's a new place that opens up. You know nothing about it. The public knows nothing about it. They are just going to the bathroom in the soup. Who the fuck knows? Maybe. I don't know. Not saying that as a racial thing. That's just people are. No.
But
people
that happens in the U.S. too. That happens in Canada.
I'm not. I know. Stop. I'm not saying Thailand. That was.
Yeah.
It's the same in the United States.
Yeah.
But it helps to have as a society, we choose to give up some rights to live in a society. That's the definition of living in a society. You can't yell, at least in the United States, you can't yell fire in a fucking crowded area. You just can't do that. You could, I guess, but you legally cannot do that. We have you should have certain expectations of how you're going to interact with the public, either in terms of an establishment, of a business, and certain expectations as a consumer.
But I think that's a cultural thing too, where maybe in the West we need more laws, where in Asia there's more social peer pressure. It's like you go to Japan, if you got a cold or an allergy, you're wearing a mask way before COVID.
Right. Which I'm sure we're going to get, and I was hoping
and
we
you
would
would
get
be
to the mask
and you'd
thing,
be looked on really poorly if you didn't. And I think the same thing comes in the other way.
Where the societal norm, and I think I've explained my latitude argument before, but I'll explain my latitude argument again for the sake of this podcast. If you are in a higher latitude area specifically in Europe, so Scandinavia, Iceland, they're a very societal first, very person second society. Love is very much a behind closed doors kind of thing. The trains all run on time. The food is absolute garbage. It tastes terrible, okay? But there's almost no crime, and everything's fantastic. You move down into the middle latitudes, your Germanys, your Belgiums, your Netherlands, your Englands. Trains mostly run on time, mostly societable for individual, still greater good. Food's a little bit better, but still there's some weird shit on there, like blood sausage. That's fucking weird. And you move down, and you get into France and Spain and Italy and the Mediterranean. Trains don't run on time. There's no such thing as a schedule. They show up when they show up. It's a love, outward, very open, very passionate society. Laws, more of a suggestion than really a law. Crime is rampant. Food is delicious. Okay? When you're in a culture like you currently live in, Cody, where you're in this upper latitude, yes, the food is fantastic in Thailand. I'm not going to argue that. They got that part right. But it's a society-first argument where I don't care about me more than I care about my neighbor. When we get to that point, you don't need nanny state laws because you realize your loss is a loss to the society. You're not going to just openly, willingly risk your life. When you live in the fucking cowboy West, where you think society is supposed to serve you, fuck John F. Kennedy's speech. You know, I'm first. Fuck the country. We need the fucking nanny state laws to prevent them from walking into a fucking train.
Well, here in Thailand as well, hasn't been a history of good government, and some of the best things happen on the local level. Like, say you would have a wat, and it's not just a religious thing, but they actually take care of the whole community in very many different ways. So I think maybe it's also a thing of necessity, whereas we rely too much on government. Here they more rely on their neighbor. So now they're more conscious of their neighbor, and they don't want to screw their neighbor.
So
just my point of view.
Let's talk about the mask thing then, because Cody, you mentioned that, and that essentially this Thailand is locked down right now, and I'm not saying the 100
not the
people,
entire
100 cases
country.
aren't important.
Yeah.
But your area
province.
is locked down for 100 people getting COVID.
Yes.
I mean, is that not, by the same logics, by your logic, is that not a nanny state?
Absolutely.
The same concept. I mean,
No,
technically,
because I tried to allude to this earlier. Is COVID has an R value? Okay, me being stupid, affect immediately. Well, not 2 weeks later, has
Pause.
and potentially 4 weeks later.
Your
let him talk.
argument earlier about the gene pool. Your gene pool has an R value. And unfortunately, alluding to idiocracy, the R value of dumb people is greater than the R value of smart people. So that has an R value. If you don't prevent them from dying, they've already spread their seed. They're just still dumb. So
But that is a
preventing them
choice
from
each
dying-
person can make. Whereas with COVID, the choice of somebody else to not wear a mask in your elevator or near you or in a confined space with you eliminates your choice. And
okay. So
Whereas-
here's my
This-
counter argument.
It's a
Being
secondhand
going back-
smoke argument.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
whereas
Yeah.
being an Instagramming crazy European and driving off of a motorcycle pier for Instagram views, which is a real thing that happened in Bali last year, or is either earlier this year or last year, like, while that could spread because Instagram, that is a choice that each individual person who is watching that Instagram makes to whether or not that is going to spread to them.
Okay.
Now
so
you asked
Do you
asked
believe in the
about
best of
is it
society or the worst?
overreaction?
I believe in the. Not sure. Do you think that that the cream of the crop should rise, or what are you trying to ask there?
What I am saying,
Or as a human being, you have a right to exist and not have
Is
to
your
possibly
dream
eat
state
something and
the
die.
Hunger Games? That's what I want to know.
is what?
You think do you
Yeah.
think the utopia is the Hunger Games, where only the smart and talented and capable and the best of the best survive? Because if that's the case,
Have a right
cool.
to live in
Cool.
a good society.
If not,
You use the word
I mean,
right
you need
to
you need
live.
you need
like,
to reserve.
everybody
Okay, well,
has the
so-
right to live. You're not allowed to trademark that phrase for your argument, saying that if you're dumb, you immediately don't have a right to live. You still have a right to live, but if you're dumb, you also have the right to die too. Even if you're
Okay,
smart,
so-
I have the right to die.
But
You're
okay,
For passive
but
eugenics is what you're looking for. You're okay with passive eugenics, where you don't have to kill them, but they kill themselves. That's fine.
well, I think that's a little bit out of the scope
Yeah.
of what we're trying to. We're saying no, hang on. It
Oh,
kind
I
of
could
is, but
take
it's
your argument
also, I
too.
would.
Do you want salt to be illegal? Do you actually want Demolition Man to happen? Do you want salt to be illegal because salt is bad for you? Salt?
Salt is not
Wait,
bad for you.
Please no.
Okay, fine. Do you want carbs to be illegal? Do you want egg yolks to be illegal? I mean, we could get to this point where, yes, that, by your argument earlier, that raises insurance premiums. What is the number one killer of Americans?
Diabetes and Alzheimer's.
What probably raises the insurance rates the most based off of the number one killer of Americans?
Absolutely. And
Obesity.
is any one of us in this entire group, I know, Tim, you've made a lot of gains towards this, but is any one of us at our appropriate ideal body weight?
No.
No. Why? Why?
Because American
Because
food is
we
shit.
were allowed to make a series of really poor choices. Will it affect all of our lifespans? Yes. Is that okay with you? Are you okay if I die in 10 years because of a massive heart attack? Because I really fucking love ice cream.
Let me rephrase that.
So,
you're
so
happy-
here's so hey,
if
hang
you're
on.
happy.
So
I'm
curious about something then. So since nanny state laws is kind of the overall scope we're doing here. So there was a big deal in New York State. What was it? Last year or a couple years ago, or maybe it
3
was
years
in
ago.
I don't even know.
You're talking
3
about
years
the
ago about
sodium.
the soda ban, the large soda ban. They didn't ban soda. They just banned large quantities of it.
Right.
Oh, so the Parks and Rec thing really did happen. Huh, that's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
You were not allowed to sell within city limits of New York City a drink over 16 ounces. A
Didn't
soda
ban
drink.
it.
Okay.
I tell you, as an aside, your meal size in restaurants when we go visit is incredible. The size of meals and drinks in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right.
Just an
And
observation that you don't know about.
That's kind of a result of our do whatever you want.
Supersize me.
Yeah.
There's other factors that affect a person's choice. It's not just this is healthy. There's
And the
there's
question-
societal pressure. There's
a much
a
bigger
million
fucking
things.
conversation, much more than our 45 minutes so far can really contain, is that what place did the addictive nature of the food we eat play in the decision of big corporate America in hooking us on it?
Oh yeah, that's their goal.
That's the fucking question. If they
That's
were
their-
making
they do their
conscious
studies to-
decisions that, for their profit margin, we're going to hook someone on a very unhealthy choice. Is that
Okay,
ethical?
so
Is that
here's
ethical? I don't care about
here's-
morals. I care about ethics.
okay.
And
So
this
here's
gets
here's the thing. I think we're getting way too far into corporate legality, and
Okay.
that's not where I have a problem. I don't have a problem with companies being told, no, you can't put this toxic chemical into things. No,
that's a nanny state. Kind of. That's the government saying
Well,
you can't
You
do
can't sell a 32-ounce drink at McDonald's.
That I think.
but sugar.
portion
Hang
is,
on.
I
Sugar
think portion
is
not.
High fructose corn
Arguably-
syrup. If you were to take someone from the Middle Ages and pull them through time and give them a Snickers bar, they would die. They would actually
they
die.
get the diabetes.
No, they would actually
No, yeah,
die.
it's-
It's too much sugar. Like their body would not be able to produce enough insulin. Their pancreas would go into fulminant failure. They would die. We've evolved.
It's almost a
towards that.
macro. It's
That's
almost a
bad.
macro issue, at least in the United States, because you have the overall diet of affordable food in this particular country. In the United States is a horrible choice. It's actually kind of difficult. It's really not, but it kind of is for a lot of people to choose to eat healthy, and part of that is because there's no limit on how much sugar they can put into something, which is the most addictive chemical to human bodies. That beats heroin, beats all that shit. I
Yeah.
mean, there's obviously some extreme ones, but
Well,
that's a
low-income
legal drug, kind of.
And I'll
low
add
income
one key
families
thing to it.
typically shop at 7-Eleven. They don't have any education on the fact that you can actually live cheaper if you ate things like beans or whatnot. But that's
And
it is
this is-
corporate.
But
It is
I
corporate.
This is an
any one of
argument-
us
I'm
here
making an
can go
argument
to the
for-
market and get, how much stuff costs. I could go get a kilo of mangosteen for 20 baht. Like,
Correct. And please tell me where in the United States I can buy that.
no,
Hmm.
you absolutely have a point there. With
Yeah.
I can buy
With the
2
food.
Big Macs for what it would cost me to buy a decent, healthy, safe, regulated salad.
oh, absolutely.
And here a Big Mac is ridiculous in price. People.
Yeah, it's like
It's a luxury item.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have to know, how much is a Big Mac? I don't care.
It's
if
about
you
the same
Google it.
price. It's about the same price as it is in the U.S. And you think about the incomes here.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that's fair.
300 baht a day. With $9 US a day. So not many families will go eat
go
fast
get a
food because of
$5
the
Big
Okay.
Mac.
yeah.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah.
back to sugar for a second, and everyone thinks that the solution to a sugar in diet is, a diet soda. But aspartame and other artificial sweeteners actually train your palate to sweeten other things. Like you will crave more sweet drinking diet soda. So it skews the rest of your diet towards just unobtainably sweet. So
I
even
don't
though
know.
you're-
At least not-
you're
at least not for
drinking
me.
Sugar through your diet soda, you're getting sugar in everything else.
Not for me. Not at all. Doesn't have that effect on me at all. I have very, very low sugar in
I
my
wonder if
diet.
that's an effect of living in Thailand for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
how easy is
It's
it to buy a
maybe it's
sugar
because I
bomb?
have
Be
different
real.
different food choices
Yeah.
here
Yeah,
True.
than I
Well,
do
Right.
at home.
we have-
It's
So-
it's
have
easier for me to buy
MSG here.
vegetables and stuff.
So I kind of want to go back to Cody's point about the R value of an action, and something I didn't realize was the eyewear thing that you guys mentioned when wearing a helmet.
Yep.
I didn't know that was a law, and I would, since most people do it, they probably believe that is the state going a bit too far, possibly in terms of the nanny state. But if the argument for a nanny, and I say nanny state, I'm okay with some of those things, but if the argument against a law is saying it's not hurting anybody else, an eyewear thing, if you're riding a motorcycle at 70 miles an hour, you get hit with a bug in your eye, you crash into a family, or you have someone on the back of your motorcycle, you crash into a car on, I don't know, Monarch Pass and here in Colorado, you smash them over the side, you've killed 5 people.
Or somebody tries to avoid
So
you.
so it
avoid
argue
you.
so a personal choice, which a lot of people would argue is a nanny state, all of a sudden affects 6-7 people potentially. Doesn't always going to happen, but at what point would you say that a personal choice wouldn't affect another person? Because that's all we do. Every choice we make affects everyone else in some way. I mean, jump out of an airplane. Yeah, you can jump out of an airplane, but that is a highly regulated way to do it. That's the government saying you can't just jump out of an airplane with a trash bag tied to around your neck and call that a damn parachute. There are laws to do these, I would argue, slightly more dangerous, but it's still regulated. All of it is regulated for the betterment of the individual person.
It's even the
Just
same thing with
counterpoint you for a second.
on the less, not health wise, but even things like drone laws. There used to be a Wild West where you could fly a drone anywhere, and then people got really upset when they brought in drone laws.
Well, and
I mean,
also,
some of them can be smart,
if
Under
you
the
look at
argument that
history
maybe
but there was really no things that they were using in the media, as saying where a drone came into a play, it might have hit a helicopter. They found all those things were bogus. Now, I mean, I do agree in some regulations, but sometimes I think they went too far that way too, because a lot of the things is fake news driven.
And
these
I'm
days.
a firm believer in the sine wave of legality. Like I feel like we're peaking towards the more legal side of things, and we're gonna go away from it like we did in, I don't know, 2001 through 2008, where we said, oh yeah, we don't need to regulate the financial system, it's fine. And then I don't know, the entire world economy crashed. Yeah, maybe laws do have a purpose. And then we go back towards a litigious society, and then maybe we go back away, and then maybe the housing market crashes again. But I feel like we're in a sine wave. I don't think we're escalating towards Armageddon. On a side note, completely unrelated.
It's a balancing
Did
act.
you know that in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Barry Allen touched a window merely by touching it? This broke because Windows no longer supports Flash.
I like that one.
I've seen that.
No,
Yeah.
I think this podcast is going to go. That's a sign that we've talked about the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. One thing I would like to leave with is this quote that there is no crueler tyranny than that which is perpetrated under the shield of law and in the name of justice. From Baron D. Montesquieu.
Let
Apparently,
me counter your quote with a quote. If there must be trouble, let it be in my day, so my child may have peace. Thomas Paine.
I have nothing. I have no quotes.
neither do I.
Sorry, I can't come up with
I
something
came
clever.
ready to fight, son. By the way, did you know that there's about 2 million baseball diamonds in the world? But that's just a ballpark figure.
That.
All right.
quote doesn't
So-
necessarily nullify my quote.
Yeah, not really.
I want
anyway.
my children to grow up in a safe place where they can be protected if they're a little on the dumb side. You know, I'm not saying my gene pool's perfect, but my wife does have an MBA. Okay, she did go to Xavier University and got a master's degree. I hope my daughters are smart, but if they have a dumb day, which let's be honest, Cody, Colton, Brandon, Tim, how many times did you think, holy shit, I could have just died now? Do you want to be a daily occurrence, or you want to be like a once in a lifetime kind of thing?
No, because I learn from my experiences.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You either learn or you die, and I would like to learn from the benefit of the entire society and not just my own experience.
Then you run
Which
into
is
the
the purpose.
situation if you don't have any of those experiences, you get extreme anxiety.
So,
I can-
warriors create great times. Great times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create warriors. We're in a cycle. We're in this 2 generations removed from World War II. The Great Struggle, the Great Depression. We're going to go through that again. And then we're going to become a hard society. And then 2 generations from them, they're going to be pansies. It's cyclical. It is not a one-way trip.
I would argue. I used to like that quote until I realized it's because people are willfully ignorant and not willing to work harder to fix the problem in itself.
Yeah.
That at least it's not really related. That's kind of my thought on that quote. The older, especially
Apathy.
with the past year and how like no one wants to learn from history in any basic way, or willfully chooses to not. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, on a second side
I-
note, did you know that babies and zombies have a lot in common? You know, sparse, messy hair, incomplete set of teeth, constant oral secretions, speaks and moans and screams, dirt, caked nails, funk of 40,000 years aroma, insatiable, aggressive appetite, worn, ill-fitting clothes, clumsy, random motor skills, unstable, lurching walk, messy eater, no sense of right and wrong, bent on destruction, keeps you awake at night in fear, can turn others into zombies.
What?
I think
Huh? What'd you
some
say?
of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Children turning you into a zombie. They're infectious.
I think-
That's true. That's true. Well, I guess one last tiny thing. I guess in the end, we're not going to agree on it,
No.
at least tonight. But I would argue at the very least, it's the true answer, the correct answer, whatever that might be, is probably somewhere in the middle.
Definitely.
Just like every other thing.
The
Yeah,
balance.
it probably depends on the thing, the society.
Probably
the,
up here, actually. It's actually
the,
probably just directly above me right here.
Uh,
Canada.
In
Canada's the
Canada?
answer.
Canada?
Canada's the answer.
Fucking who knows?
Yeah, and not each set of codes, and we alluded to this, is perfect for all
Yeah, there's-
societies too. Like that's
Right.
another
There's
thing.
a society's past experience will influence its future.
Oh.
That is a fact, regardless.
And we
of-
never talked about Japan because that's an extreme.
or Singapore.
The
Singapore would
social-
have been interesting
yeah.
to add into that
yeah,
too.
yeah,
'Cause-
and there
Yeah.
are actually nanny laws in Thailand. For instance, the sale of alcohol between, yeah, at certain
11.
times.
You can only sell between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
What?
and 5 p.m. and midnight. You can only
yeah,
sell.
that's weird moral shit though.
That's
That's
weird
in
stuff.
Thailand?
Yeah,
That sucks.
yeah. But there's always
To be
places
fair,
that
in
bend the rules.
Colorado,
Drive to
you-
the liquor store.
Yeah.
I
There's
mean,
always
to be
places that
fair,
bend
in
the
Colorado,
rules.
they only recently made that a law where you could actually get. Can you actually get liquor at a grocery store or a?
You can get full strength beer at any place that
Okay,
sells
so-
alcohol of any kind. So grocery stores could only sell 3.2% beer before the weak shit, but now they can sell the full variety.
Now they can only sell beer.
What is
unlike
the
California,
regular
they can't
percentage?
sell hard alcohol or wine.
What is the standard percentage of beer? Because I never
Five.
knew. Oh, it's
So
5.
the standard percentage of
5 to
beer
7.
is 5.2. That's the
Okay.
that's the average ABV. You have 8s, you have 3.2, 5.2 is in the middle.
Okay.
Whereas your wine,
Which is
your
weird.
wine
I'm
is
still
about
not used
10%.
to. It's still weird here in Arizona where I can go to the local supermarket and have an entire freaking aisle just full of wine and spirits and liquor and beer, and I'm like, that says a lot about my state, but we'll just keep
California
that.
was the same
and,
way.
And when I lived in California and Oregon, grocery stores have full wine aisles or wine sections, like where you walk into a grocery store expecting to see the produce section, and it's not. It's the wine section. It's fantastic.
It's produce.
It's produce. It's just all grape juice. It's
produce.
fine.
Well, I
know,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
The thing
rotten
I
grapes.
miss most,
It's just the further stage of produce.
the thing I miss most from California is that the liquor stores were actually convenience stores. So half the store would be like liquor, beer, and whatever, and then the other half was like your chips and your sodas and like fucking
It's freaking
diapers.
brilliant, honestly. I mean,
The
if you're
thing,
gonna go get a beer, you might want some freaking chips. Fuck.
the thing I miss
Hell,
most,
if you're-
about living in Canada is just before I left, they started opening up marijuana stores. The government.
And as far as Nanny
Ooh.
State goes on that one, I feel like if you can personally, in your own home, consume a product that has no effect on anybody else, no one should be able to say fucking shit about it. Alcohol, in my opinion, is way more dangerous as I drink. Is way more fucking dangerous than half the shit I see on the street. And that's including the shit where you overdose on it because
Yeah.
it's laced with carfentanil, which is a synthetic drug manufactured in China and Mexico for U.S. consumers. So regulate the shit. Make sure it doesn't have
Test
carfentanil in it. Test it. Standardized dosing of marijuana products prevents bad trips, prevents people from doing stupid shit. Protect
Yeah,
the lowest common
that's why for
denominator,
edibles-
tax the shit out of it so they pay for themselves.
That's why for edibles they took a little longer before they released them because they wanted to try to figure out ways of standardizing the content in edibles. They didn't want people overdosing on them.
One of
But
my
I could say I had in all my years I really seldom ever had problem with somebody high on cannabis. Alcohol was always a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every day. DUIs. One of my dispatchers
Fights.
actually quit, and she was a
Damn.
supervisor, so she was making buku money. But she actually quit because she had a degree in chemistry, and is now testing cannabis products for its levels. And she's making just ridiculous money, absolute ludicrous money.
That could almost be a. I don't know if it would be
Yeah.
an interesting content, but that could be an episode in itself.
Could be interesting.
That could be one
Yeah,
of those.
because here we
Not so much just marijuana, but just
Drugs.
I guess drug use as a society in general.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a good one.
And here we
Otherwise it'll be
are
here
in Thailand. If you were to get caught or even have it in your blood, you could get arrested. Which brings up an interesting question for me. I had for somebody on the Bangkok podcast. If I went to Canada or somebody went to Canada and they imbibed in cannabis, then they came here and had their blood tested, would you get arrested?
Oh, totally.
And yeah, you could.
Yeah, I think
It's the same thing in the United States. If you go to a state where it's not legal, and technically federally it still is, you could go to jail.
I
So
will
it's
say that
really quite silly, but
that being said, I've driven around, some places and some neighborhoods. There's a distinct smell in the air of something. So,
of
Yeah.
course, because
So, as you guys know, I work for an ambulance company, and this ambulance company might hypothetically work in the western Denver area, which, if you know the name of the city, that's cool. You don't need to repeat it. and there might be a gigantic brewery in said area, and we might hypothetically, me maybe today, have tested an employee of that business for drugs and alcohol, even though that they have taps in their lunchroom.
Mm-hmm.
You can drink.
Really?
I don't know. I
silly.
have yet to be informed of the distinct dividing line of what is appropriate of drinking on the job. But if you're operating heavy machinery, you're not allowed at all. And if you dent a SUV or I don't know, raise the lift of a forklift inside a truck trailer and damage the ceiling, you might have to pee in a cup and blow in a tube for me, hypothetically. And it's interesting to me that I have to do this for an alcohol company, and I have never had a single drug test of the 10 panel drug pop positive. But my alcohol meter,
Yes.
that's a different story. Yeah.
And I think that'd be a good episode. I think we should do that for maybe our next discussion or one in the future.
Yeah, and we always have anyway. Sounds good.
Cody, where can we find you?
And you can find me here every week, of course, and also you can find me on my other YouTube channel called Striving to Fail, and on Steam as Psychonitrous.
Yeah.
And Instagram as Zito Valder, which I was good about posting stuff on there, but I need to post some more. Anyway, how about
Lockdown can be hard for the gram,
it's
Oh yeah.
We'll get into that if you want to stick around for the after show notes on that. Just watch through the credits, the music. Watch through the music.
We're
Anyway,
a Marvel movie every episode.
yeah.
Colton,
what about you?
Name's Colton Roper. Go by Seeker4761
Nice.
in all the places, actually. I do stream pretty regularly at twitch.tv/Seeker4761. Let's see here. I also just put up bringing back the old Game Review Thursday, I guess, YouTube series. So that's back up. I've also recently started posting again to the techpirate.net. So check it out there.
Tim,
what about you?
Our Thai Journey on Facebook and on YouTube. And that's an Instagram as well.
Fuck yeah.
Next.
I am Charlie Stiffler, also known as Milnor, spelled wrong, so I always get it right. You can find me on twitch.tv/Milnor. I have not been streaming recently. It's the middle of summer, which is the busy time for events. Therefore, I am doing things not in front of my computer. You can also find me at Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all of the things as Milnor, because why have more than one username? Hold on, excuse me while I call my people out. Brandon.
Yeah, I feel particularly singled out with that last bit of shade you threw. So I'm Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. Twitch,
Drac
I'm
Vader,
Captain
Drac.
Drac. God, yeah. I really need to consolidate.
If it's
He's a man of
Dracanis,
many
I
names.
will
the
say
red,
this real
the
quick.
medic.
Thanks to
Drac.
Colton, I think, the Tech Pirate has a Facebook page now.
Yes,
It
Yes.
does.
Colton has been awesome about that.
Excellent. I probably will post sometime this year. Probably.
Probably.
You got 6 months. You'll get it. 4 months.
Right now I am most active on Instagram. bvader86 is what I am on there. I might try changing everything to Dracanis at some point. I don't know. It confuses me. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at this TWIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can send an email to twil@thetechprat.net. See y'all next week.
For the record, I did not fuck with this script this time.
Because I only recently
Lockdown's
got
that
a
hard
phone.
on the gram, huh?
Well, no, I only recently got a phone that, was it last week that I got a phone that actually doesn't take half blurry pictures because, so,
Fair enough.
yeah, basically for a month, my Razr phone 2, which I still love, you know how difficult it is to
Surprise.
find a phone that has an IP rating here that is not the newest Samsung and not.
What did you end up getting?
I got a Vivo V21 5G is what I
I'm
got.
blown away you didn't go with like the Samsung, what was it, Xperia 3 or whatever the fuck it's called, or Sony, not Samsung. I'm blown away you didn't get that.
I could not find
Why
that
not
here.
the iPhone 13? I don't get it.
Because I don't feel
iPhone.
like having Apple
He doesn't want a
scan
nanny
all of
state
my,
in his fucking pocket.
Yeah, I don't feel
I
like
was
having
thinking
Apple
Google-
scan
Google.
all
exactly
of my
that.
having Apple scan all of my images to see if there's child abuse going on. So if you own
Yeah,
an
that's-
iPhone
Yeah.
in the US, that's happening now.
But we can all agree that if that is happening, fuck those guys, fuck their pictures, no right to privacy, fuck them, go to prison. Fuck them. Those particular people,
For those
Other
particular
things, fine,
people, but
whatever.
how do you find
Yeah,
I think we
those
agree.
particular
I don't like
people
being
out of
lumped
everyone?
in with
Yeah.
them. Just
Yep.
okay.
So you
Yeah.
assume right now they are
We're an
assuming
anti-
everybody is basically a perpetrator. That's the only way to catch those people
Now-
is to assume that everyone else is
Here-
and take that out.
And if that is the cost of getting all of those people where they belong in a fiery pit, I personally
No.
am all right with that.
Okay.
no.
This
Okay,
is
here's
why
here's
Then
one of
you
my
hit-
other
hitting
problems.
and-
the
And,
personal
and
section
NSA
of
territory where they scan everybody.
Yeah, and this
is
is
not
why
good.
the personal sections of Craigslist went down, is because it was a for the children.
What I want to know, because Apple's actually always been the company that says, "Fuck you, government. You can't have anything of our." And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
that's what I want to know. What has changed that all of a sudden they're just gonna do this? And yeah, I agree with,
It's a different
Charlie.
argument
Fuck
this
those
time.
people.
It's not anti-terrorist. It's for the children. And when you have a for the children argument, there's no.
But I don't think
defense
Apple
against
would.
that is good enough.
I don't think Apple would do that. Though.
They are.
There's got to be something else.
Yeah.
No, I know they're doing it, but I don't think that's the reason. I think there's more to it than that. It and this and the scary. Maybe it's a lot more prevalent than it seems. I don't know. I only recently found out about that, so it's just interesting to see
it only
Apple,
made the news about
company
5
that
days ago.
said,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but there's a lot of shit going on.
And
But
interestingly enough, it's only in the U.S. too. So,
Yeah.
so I guess you're right.
Yeah, and
I could have
that's
gotten
the other
an
interesting
iPhone.
part.
I could have gotten an iPhone 13 here and been okay, but I would still have an iPhone 13.
Yeah, you would have paid a year's worth of Thai income for it. So
Yeah. Well, some people do, and some people just go into debt on that.
well, I mean, it's such a big deal. Hey, there he is. Such an important part of society now. Kind of makes sense on some level, but
if it's the price that I have to pay to make sure my children aren't exploited, I'm willing to pay it. And yeah, I get that. Not everyone in this group has kids. That's fine. No judgment. And I truly feel that becoming a parent is a life-changing situation. and
No, I
decision.
imagine it is.
It is, but even I would not consent to that kind of monitoring, because who's to
And-
say that at some point down the road they stop scanning just for known images of this child abuse stuff, and they just start looking through your phone and going, hey, that picture you took of your son in the bathroom that doesn't actually, like, in the bath, like bathtub, like cute baby, like embarrassing photo for future girlfriend, like doesn't show fucking shit, doesn't show anything, all of a sudden is getting flagged for that, and I'm drugged to court because, hey, you you had a flag
Yeah,
on
it's,
there.
Now,
it's,
the
it's
important
weird how
thing
they're gonna do it.
is if you say that it still goes to court, then a jury of reasonable people would still say, yeah, it's a cute, harmless baby picture because it's of your child and you distribute it nowhere. If you happen to have, I don't know, 12,000 other people's baby photos, yeah, you're a fucking creep and you should go to the fucking burning pit over there.
To
That's
quote
where
Well,
the
I-
actual
somebody-
legal
And that's
system
fine,
steps
but
in.
that's
to quote somebody
I have
who
a
works
problem
in
because
IT that
it's a-
is smarter than me, Wendell from Level 1 Techs, if the technology exists for this to happen, it will be misused.
Yep. 100%.
Every
yeah,
technology created by humans will be misused. Period. Full stop. Like
Well,
everything.
Well, just look
So
at the
if you think
NSA
about it,
story.
It's misused already.
NSA.
Look at the NSA
It
story.
doesn't fucking matter.
They go way too far. They went way too far
Oh yeah.
in their surveillance.
Yeah,
And we
non-constitutional.
can and they justify it by the same moral reasons. Well, we're looking after terrorists. We're looking after this, but meanwhile, it just takes somebody else. So, what do you have? I want this information.